This is Nasha Kasha, Ukrainian Almanac. 28 minutes of stories for everyone about Ukrainian life. Nasha Kasha is heard on 18 campus and community radio stations from Newfoundland to British Columbia. I'm your reporter, Stefan Andrusiak. This is episode 200. You know, Nasha Kasha is the only show on radio or television about Ukrainian life that's broadcast from coast to coast. So you could say that Nasha Kasha is national. In large cities, capable Ukrainian language programming informs the Ukrainian-speaking community. In Montreal, for example, Ukrainski Chas, Ukrainian Time, has been on the air in that city for more than half a century. An outstanding accomplishment. This program is not for profit. I'm a volunteer. The stations that carry it are community-oriented, non-commercial in character. In these 28 minutes, you will hear from 6 station programmers. They are among the managers who took a leap of faith and believed that a program about Ukrainian life just might touch the hearts and minds of all of their listeners. 200 shows is but a page turn. The real story is out there, out of sight, behind the scenes. As so many of my stations struggle with fundraising, aging equipment, students who help and then leave with the passing of the years. Then there are the novice volunteers who are well-intentioned but must be guided. In this episode, we'll cross Canada from the place of the rising sun to an equally picturesque Vancouver Island. There and at locations along the way, it has been my honor to be in their midst 200 times over.
My name is Hans Rollman. I'm the program director at CHMR-FM in St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm looking out the window at what should be a view of St. John's Harbour, nestled between the rocky outcrops known as the Narrows, the place where the sun rises first in North America. But I can see neither the sun nor the harbour because there's a raging blizzard outside. The views of St. John's you see in tourism ads, sun-dappled waves and clotheslines stretched beneath blue skies, they rarely manifest in practice. More often than not, what you get is today. Windows shaking, wind ripping at the power lines, snow and hail tearing at your face. Even at the end of March, the snow piles up meters high outside our door. But when the sun does rise over the harbor, it's a sight worth seeing. The sun blazes over the forested tops of the south side hills, and its gold reflection ripples in the gentle waves. The horizon is multiple shades of blue, harbor, ocean, sky. It's a sight that'll take your breath away, on the rare occasions that you can actually see it. It's an apt metaphor for radio, really. You don't usually see the community you're broadcasting into, and they don't see you. But you each know you're out there, and that you've got something beautiful to share with each other. Many of our programmers slide into the poetic in their weekly shows, and it's not hard to tell why. Something about living in this place inspires it. CHMR has been around in some capacity since the 1950s and broadcasting on the FM dial since 1986. We've moved studio sites more than anyone probably knows. Our previous studio towered over the campus of Memorial University. St. John's has a history of great fires dating back to the 18th century. In the mid-1990s, when a fire ravaged through the city's downtown and media all over the province covered the destructive blaze, our DJs had the best view. While CBC lamented the loss of historic buildings, our DJ spoke to the community from his heart. "The Big R is on fire," he wailed into the microphone. "They had the best squid rings in town." These days, CHMR is a microcosm of the diversity which is rapidly transforming our province. It's a good thing. Even though our province has the highest rates of unemployment and youth outmigration, it's inspiring to tune into the radio and hear the voices of immigrants and international students broadcasting in languages never before heard on the airwaves in this province. Bengali, Portuguese, Hindi, Inuktitut, Mi'kmaq, Japanese. It reminds us that even though our province is experiencing hardship and economic turmoil, we are nevertheless moving into a diverse and inclusive future together as a community.
Не закривай наших світлих знайшов безліч людей і машин, дивних ілюзій і вічних причин. Знаєш, як твердо мені спати на їхньому дні. Сонце, забери мене і веди за собою, забери мене. Сонце моє, тут так холодно, тут так темно без тебе, забери мене. Моє небо, поверни мене, наше небо, забери мене.
Okay, I'm Elsie from Ukraine, and like so many in Newfoundland on days like this, in search for the sun, Sonse.
Hey, Stefan. This is Seth Glasgow, Programming Director at CKDU 88.1 FM in Halifax, Nova Scotia. We've always championed being an alternative to big time radio like the CBC or commercialized radio. And so in addition to the marginalized voices in our own communities, we also given a voice to people who may be immigrants or came here looking for a better life. Here in Halifax, being the home of Pier 21, so many immigrants have come and gone through our docks. And in some cases, we turned some away for some of the dumbest reasons. Like in one case, I forget the exact year, it would have been the 1930s, I believe. We ended up turning a ship full of Jewish people away who were trying to escape the Holocaust. And many of them got sent back to Europe and they ended up dying in the Holocaust, which is crazy, honestly. There's good and bad that comes with it. And Halifax is far from perfect. But here at CKDU, I always try, along with all the programmers here and the staff, we try to give a voice to everybody so that people know about what's going on, not just in their community, but what's going on all around the world and what people are fighting for, what they're trying to get, what they're trying to earn, so that we can be more tolerant and understand people better instead of having to be so divided. You know what I'm saying?
Ми рушали в дорогу, щоби я не говорив, я сюди не повернуся, ніч ходила голосами, і з нами наше сонце не стигало за нами. Не чекай мене дарма, я сюди не поверну.
Here's a song about people who emigrate from Ukraine today. Kozak System singing the Immigrants song from their album Shabla. A Shabla is a sword. You hear the defiance and the anger in their voices, and they're singing, I'm never coming back. It's aimed at today's emigres who leave their native soil in search of some greater fortune out there instead of staying and working and building good fortune in the place where they were born.
Чорних трюмах від Одеси до Гданська світить зіркою душа емігрантська. Щоби я не говорив, я сюди не повернусь. Речі, садки і солодка свобода, хліб щоденний і щоденна робота. Не чекай мене дарма, я сюди не поверну.
I was born in Montreal, educated at Loyola, which later became Concordia University. It's especially sweet to have Nasha Kasha played every week on that very same campus and broadcast to the entire city.
Hi, my name is Allison O'Reilly, and I'm the program director at CJLO 1690 AM in Montreal. Now, CJLO broadcasts out of Concordia University. Concordia has two campuses, the Sir George Williams campus, which is located in the heart of downtown Montreal, and the Loyola campus, which is nestled in the Notre-Dame-des-Grâces, or NDG, borough. CJLO is on the fourth floor of the central building of Loyola, a beautiful campus that hosts the journalism, communication, psychology, and most undergraduate science departments at Concordia. Concordia University was formed on August 24th of 1974 through the merger of two Montreal schools named, you may have guessed it, Loyola College, which was founded in 1896, and Sir George Williams University, which was founded in 1926. In 1968, in the wake of the Parent Commission report, which was a report that recommended the secularization of Quebec's educational system, now Loyola was a very religious school, the Quebec government asked Loyola College and Sir George Williams University to consider some sort of union. In 1969, it was proposed to create a university federation that allowed students to take courses at both campuses without having to pay additional fees, as well as introducing a shuttle bus system that takes students to both campuses. Now, on August 24th, as I mentioned before, on 1974, the government of Quebec recognized the merger of the two campuses, thus creating Concordia University. The name was taken from the motto of the city of Montreal, Concordia Salut, meaning well-being through harmony. I think that's a beautiful saying. CJLO was actually also created from a merger as well. CJLO was formed in 1998 as a merger between two stations. CRSG, which was a closed-circuit station on Concordia's Sir George Williams campus, and CFLI, a carrier current station on the Loyola campus. Now, mergers can be quite challenging, but as demonstrated through Concordia and through CJLO, with hard work, patience, and lots of love, merging communities can be very beneficial, and there can be well-being through harmony.
Nasha Kasha comes to you from CHRW 94.9 FM on the campus of Western University in London, Ontario, Canada. We're heard on CHMR 93.5 FM in St. John's, Newfoundland, on CKDU 88.1 FM in Halifax, on Local 107.3 FM in St. John, New Brunswick, on CJAS Radio 93.5 FM in Saint Augustine, Quebec, on CJLO 1690 AM in Montreal, on CFRC 101.9 FM in Kingston, on CFMU 93.3 FM in Hamilton, on CKMS 102.7 FM in Kitchener-Waterloo, on CJAM 99.1 FM in Windsor and Detroit, on CKLU 96.7 FM in Sudbury, on CILU 102.7 FM in Thunder Bay, on 101.5 UMFM in Winnipeg, on CJTR 91.3 FM in Regina, on CFMQ 98.1 FM in Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan, on CFBX 92.5 FM in Kamloops, on CIVL 101.7 FM in Abbotsford, and on CHLY 101.7 FM in Nanaimo, British Columbia. These are the Kubasonics and Harmony in the Family.
My name's Andrew Barton, the station manager for 94.9 CHRW Radio Western, where it all began for Nasha Kasha. And thanks so much, Steve, for asking me to do this. I trained Steve in a lot of aspects of radio as a volunteer and individual, and now, nationwide radio host, nationwide Ukrainian host extraordinaire. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about the longest running multicultural program on Radio Western, and that's the Portuguese Voice of Friendship. 40 years in October 2021, so it's coming up soon. It's not quite 39 yet, but 40 is kind of a big milestone. And Euclides Kavako is the gentleman who started it all, and he had a big impact with Radio Western in its very beginnings, way back in 1981. The Portuguese Voice of Friendship is an important part of Radio Western, and it's featured on Sunday afternoons, and Sunday all day. We have a ton of multicultural shows with languages from all over the world. Multicultural programming is extremely important for Radio Western because of those deep community connections, bridging the gap between Western, its students, and the community. Now, as we see a rise in student participation, we begin to see things like students getting involved with these established hosts from the community and transferring skills, whether it's the host teaching them how to do voiceovers properly or how to have a good presence on the air or whatever the case may be, or the student showing the host how to use some kind of new piece of technology. And it's amazing to see the give and take. And while all of this is happening, people are getting trained, learning how to be able to radio, and it's nice to see a more equitable relationship between those two, and we're happy to be able to support that. So we're happy to have so many different shows. Listen on a Sunday. Thanks, Steve. 200 episodes, and thanks very much for letting me talk on Nasha Kasha.
The selection that was chosen by Andrew Barton to accompany his words is by German trombonist and band leader Peter Herbolzheimer. Rhythm combination in brass. The selection is called Feedback Brother. It's from the album I Hear Voices.
Hi, this is Michael Elves, Program Director at UMFM in Winnipeg. We air Nasha Kasha on Tuesday mornings. And Stefan has asked me to talk briefly about UMFM's place in the community. As I record this, well, it is the middle of social distancing here in Winnipeg. I've actually been home for about a week and a half with my 4 children. But what I have been pleased to see during this time is the rallying of the music community, the arts and culture community, to support those who have been unable to continue to tour, to play shows, to do the things that earn them a living in this city that, it's been a rewarding thing to be somewhat distant in the physical sense, but very close to all of the people that we have been a supporter of and a proud partner of over the past 20 plus years at this point at the station. Just this past weekend, William Prince did a live show from his living room that garnered over 40,000 views, and I was thinking back to when William first did an appearance at UMFM, just him and his guitar. He was still working as a bouncer on the campus bar, and sat down with Ashley Binyers on Winnipeg Music Project. And just to think the trajectory that he's had, the impact that his music has had on our listeners, and just sort of the symbiotic relationship.
So am I dreaming, or is this just how we're living now?
Stefan asked us for our place in the community, and the thing is, UMFM is the community. Our programmers live all across this city and outside of the city, have varying ages, ethnicities, backgrounds, and are as diverse as the Winnipeg population and speak to that Winnipeg population. I'm always proud of the great programming that we do here at UMFM, but never more so than more recently. Thanks to Stefan. Congratulations on 200 episodes.
Oh, baby, you're the flame, the fire, but most of all, you're the spark.
William Prince composed and sang The Spark. It's available everywhere you get your music.
Shutarabish Yakshamayash. This is Tracy Kaniksky, station manager of CFMQ 98.1 in Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan, Moose capital of the world, where the length of 8 links of Kubasa fits the requirements for social distancing. Not to be confused with the Hudson Bay Department Store or the Hudson's Bay in northern Manitoba and Ontario. CFMQ 98.1 is Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan's information station and celebrates 26 years of community radio. It all started with Danny and Sherry Brand with Bran Flakes in the Morning. After 20 years, there was a 10-month transition period before I took over in August 2014. I grew up in Hudson Bay, spent my 20s and 30s in Metro Vancouver, taught English in South Korea for 3 years before migrating back to Hudson Bay. If there's one thing I've learned, it's to never give up on your dreams and to never give up before the miracle happens. I obtained my radio broadcasting certificate in Saskatoon at WABC, the Western Academy of Broadcasting College, in 1984. And it was 30 years before I actually got into the radio business. If you're ever in Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan, pop by or tune in to CFMQ 98.1. Where else can you start your day with the rooster crowing and 2 polkas? Congratulations to Stefan Andrusiak for 200 episodes of Nasha Kasha. Thank you for keeping us entertained and informed with Ukrainian history in Canada. Dai Boże.
These are my friends in Rushnichok, with the closest approximation Ukrainian culture has to a song dedicated to poultry. When you talk about dedication in radio, you don't have to look much further than Paulina McQuarrie. She was an inspiration to me. Her program is both in Ukrainian and in English. And these days, in Nanaimo, Nasha Kasha is heard after Paulina's program. I wanted her to be a part of this, but I must confess that I woke her to deliver this message, forgetting the time difference between East and West time zones.
Sorry about the dog barking, Stefan. It's the neighbors. Here goes. So my name is Paulette McQuarrie. I go as Paulina on my radio program, which I host on CHLY 101.7 FM in beautiful downtown Nanaimo. 2012, my husband and I retired to Vancouver Island. I've been on this station with my program since 2012, and since 2016, I've had a co-host by the name of Oksana Poberezhnik, a lovely lady who is originally from Ternopil, Ukraine. She adds an actually authentic Ukrainian element. In 1990, my show started. I was working then as a volunteer for 6 years at a multicultural radio station in Vancouver, and it was a volunteer gig under the auspices of the Ukrainian Canadian community. And in 2000, I switched stations after a 4-year break, went solo. It's still basically a volunteer gig. That is the joy of doing a community radio, because you don't have any constraints. Commercial is fine, it has its place, but community radio is more laid back, it's more off the cuff. At CHLY, it's a campus radio, of course, and has a mandate to provide some multicultural programming. And we have a few, not many. We do have lots of local music on Vancouver Island. It is renowned for independent music, and there's plenty of that. There's lots of politics, there's lots of talk, lots of interesting, diverging views. I highly recommend getting involved in community radio if you have something to say or know people who do.
Полетів бим на край світа, як вітер, що в полі літать, гей, Америцький край. Лем жаль мітя, моя хижо, лем жаль мітя, моя хижо, солом'яна, жаль, жаль. Лем біда, не можна заробить з хліба, гей, мушу летіть вдаль. Лем жаль мій вас, мої верхи, лем жаль мій вас, мої верхи, зеленії, жаль, жаль. Лем жаль мій вас, мої верхи, лем жаль мій вас, мої верхи.
This is Sofia Fedina singing Politub na kraj svita. It's about wanting to fly away, but deciding to stay put. I wish to gratefully acknowledge that partial funding for Nasha Kasha comes from the Shevchenko Foundation and from the Ukrainian Credit Union. Now more than ever, community radio.
Жалійте, моя страно, де жию з мамічкою, няньо, гей, лев жалійте, жаль. Хоч нас біда, не поїду, хоч нас біда, не поїду, в американський край. Я не поїду, хоч нас біда, не поїду, хоч нас біда, не поїду. Американський край.
Back in a week, God willing, до милої зустрічі за тиждень часу, дорогі слухачі.